It's time to play Canada's favorite new game show, Waive, Trade, or Keep, where today's contestant talking Habs must decide whether to waive the player, trade the player, or keep the player, and give his reasons why. Today's players are goalie, Sam Montembeault, winger, Yoel Armia, defenseman, Chris Wideman. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's play Waive, Trade, or Keep. Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome in to Waive, Trade, or Keep. Yoel Armia has been frustrating Habs fans for the last 2 seasons, and thinking about one more season of it is maddening. After a shortened 56-game 2020-2021 regular season that saw Armia produce just 14 points in 41 games, Armia had a strong playoffs in more of a defensive role on the fourth line, producing 5 goals, 3 assists for 8 points in 21 games. He was signed to a 4-year extension in the offseason of that season and has not lived up to that contract. Signed when Marc Bergevin was GM, a terrible deal from the get-go. Overpaid for what he brings on a nightly basis offensively. Defensively, though, Armia delivers most nights, being an above-average penalty killer and pretty solid checker. Good defensive stick work, breaking up plays, and on the few nights he puts it all together, taking advantage of those turnovers with some goals. He has fallen down the depth chart, and if it wasn't for having to clear waivers, the cap issues, and the fact Armia has no tradable value right now, there is little doubt Armia would not have a roster spot in Montreal's plans for 23-24, like in any way. He could play on the fourth line, but the problem is he's paid like a middle six player, not a fourth liner. And that's too much for most teams to take. Waiving him and hoping he's claimed or burying his contract in Laval could be the answer. Trying to get Armia going again and playing a full season is unrealistic, in my opinion, at 30 years old, which he is, and probably so is expecting GM Hughes to pull another miracle trade and trade Armia before the season like he did with Mike Hoffman. Here's Armia's stats for the last 3 seasons and his career stats. So in 2020-2021, 41 games, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. In 2021-22, 60 games, 6 goals, 8 assists, 14 points. In 2022-23, 43 games, 7 goals, 7 assists. Guess how many points? 14 points. In his career, 439 games, 75 goals, 78 assists for 153 points. Almost any prospect that they add will give the team more production, and the combined cap hit will be the same or less, which I'm going to show you right now. Waiving Armia and sending him to Laval will give the team $1.1 million of his $3.4 million in cap relief, with the remaining $2.3 million on the books. Add to that amount the salary of the possible players to take his place, and you get this. Raphael Harvey-Pinard got 2 years left at $1.1 million, actually just signed a new contract. You add that, it's exactly the same, $3.4 million. Sean Farrell and ML Heineman on their ELCs, $897,000. Add that is $3.197 million. Owen Beck, 3 years at $885,000. Add that is $3.185 million. Joshua Roy, add his $835,000, it's $3.135. Leish Anderson and Jesse Ullinen, they're 1 year left on their ELC and $775,000, and that comes to $3.075 million. So all those options all add up to less if you waive Armia. If you've got to be stuck with the $3.4 million, either way, get the most out of it. You'll get better productivity. You'll be developing the young player, and much better value to the team's long-term success. Nothing in Armia's regular season play over the last 3 seasons says he'll turn it around and start producing and raise his value, then be tradable. He's injury-prone and inconsistent. Hoping that will change and his value will go up and be tradable is akin to Einstein's theory of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. He's taking up a roster spot needed for a young player, and roster spots for the young guys are more important and beneficial to future success than keeping Armia in the lineup in the faint hope you'll be able to trade him for what? A 7th-round pick? And that's if you're lucky. So I say for Yoel Armia, waive him. Chris Wideman. It's no secret the Montreal Canadiens are well stocked with prospects, young players, and veterans on defense, especially with the reacquisition of Jeff Petrie. So you've got Petrie, if he's not traded, Matheson, David Savard, Gooley, Harris, Barron, Kovacevic, Jackeye, and Wideman. You also have Engstrom, that's a dark horse. You've got Lane Hudson coming up very soon, David Reinbacher, and Logan Mailloux coming up really soon. Of the 9 defensemen that are not in the brackets on the list, 2 will not be on the roster to start the season. So who will they be? Of the waiver exempt guys, you got Arbor Jackeye, Caden Gooley, Jordan Harris, and Justin Barron. And even if the Habs trade Petrie, as most rumors do have it, one of those 4 may have to start the season in Laval. But if the Habs do move Petrie, there is one of the remaining 4 who are not waiver exempt that should be the guy moved out. Let's face it, Chris Wideman has practically no future with Montreal beyond maybe this upcoming season. He's capable depth D on any team, and with only 1 year left at $762,000, he doesn't pose a risk to any acquiring team. The Habs could waive him and put him in Laval, and may do that to keep him for depth themselves. But it's really of no consequence to them in the long run if they move him outright to another team or lose him to waivers if they do decide to waive him. At best, a 6th or 7th round pick, and I'm probably being very generous saying a 6th round pick, might come back in a trade for Wideman. It's probably future considerations. Wideman is a known commodity now, a depth D that can fill in on the third pair when needed and even give you some power play time. He's low on Montreal's depth chart with so many skilled and talented prospects here in the system right now that unless there's another shitload of injuries again, Wideman probably won't see NHL ice this season anyways. In his 2 seasons with Montreal, in 21-22, 64 games, 4 goals, 23 assists, 27 points. Not bad. Last season, 22-23, 46 games, 0 goals, 6 assists, 6 points. That's just not good enough. In his career, 291 games, 20 goals, 58 assists, 78 points. For Chris Wideman, I say trade. If you like this, give a thumbs up, leave a comment, and please share this video. Montreal Canadiens training camp opens for the 23-24 season. They'll have 4 goalies on the training camp roster. Sam Montembeault, Jake Allen, Casey DeSmith, and Caden Primo. Newly acquired Casey DeSmith is rumored to be on the block. But did they acquire him just to flip him? Or could he be a legitimate option to stay as a backup goalie or the 1B? Is this Caden Primo's year to make the club? Or do the Habs chance waiving him in order to send it back to Laval? Is Jake Allen secure with his 2-year, $7.7 million, $3.85 million AAV extension? Not looking as good of a deal as when it was signed last season. Sam Montembeault, expected by almost everyone to be Montreal's starter or 1A this upcoming season, reported to have been reassured by Kent Hughes, Habs GM, that his starting role is still secure despite the acquisition of Casey DeSmith. Is now, according to a report by Marc Dumont, a Montreal Hockey Now reporter, possibly available for the right price. I don't believe that for a second. I really don't. While Monty has shown improvement and potential, he hasn't nearly fully established himself as an NHL starter, and any return for Monty wouldn't equal his potential that Montreal management and coaching, they believe he has. There's been no hint of Montreal thinking of changing directions between the pipes, and neither Allen nor DeSmith are young. while Monty is just entering his prime years with actual potential to be your starter and hold the fort for the next 2-3 years and maybe longer if necessary. To me, it makes more sense to move Allen. He's older than DeSmith by 2 years, higher AAV by more than twice as much, and still one of the best backups in the league. It might not be easy to find a partner with so many cap-strapped teams. But Hughes moved Hoffman with no retained salary and got a good return. So if anyone can do it, I mean, Hughes is the guy. Primo isn't ready yet, and considering his struggles at the NHL level, his numbers are horrible. And the waiver rule that you have to keep a waiver pickup with the big club all season, and no team carries 3 goalies. Primo, it's safe to say, will clear waivers and can hopefully stay in Laval all season to continue developing. So to me, all this adds up to an easy conclusion. Sam Montembeault, you keep. He's your starter, and until he proves he's not, you don't move him because you're not going to get the right return for his potential. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Please give a thumbs up if you like that. And that's it for the first ever episode of Waive, Trade, or Keep.